Theodore Stowell III, and welcome to the first edition of Open Air Realist, where I call it like I see it, whether you like it or not. As a biblically astute atheist, I am well aware that the Bible is full of fairy tales and fiction. However, I also realize when the Jesus character referred to people as sheep, he was onto something. People are sheep. Yes, even in the atheistic skeptical community, that's right. Even in this community where people are supposed to be free thinkers. But are we really free thinkers? Time after time I've watched my fellow atheists ridicule and mock theists as though they're somehow, I don't know, less evolved than themselves. Yeah, as somehow being a theist means that you're less intelligent. Let's get real. If you're an atheist or a skeptic or a free thinker and you're watching this, do yourself a big favor. Ask yourself, is there anything I'm accepting without sufficient evidence? Is there anything I'm accepting uncritically? Am I following anyone, whether it be a scientist or anyone else, maybe a popular atheist personality that I'm following uncritically without questioning their assertions, or at least questioning their assertions enough? Ask yourself this. Am I doing the very same things that I accuse others of doing? Maybe you should think about that. There's something else I noticed about people. Not only people like sheep in some ways, but they're also like chickens. You see, when I was 17, I used to have a job at a farm where I used to get the privilege of scraping and cleaning the chicken coop, where I'd find layers of chicken shit, and underneath that chicken shit there would be flattened chickens. Why is that? Because chickens have a pecking order, and they pick on the weak. They like to find the little weak spots in their fellow chickens, and they pick away at it until that chicken is, well, dead. So don't we find ourselves doing that to our fellow human beings? Sure, criticizing our fellow human beings can be quite productive, but are we really doing it with the intent to build that person up? Or is it to tear that person down, to make them look small, and to make ourselves feel big? That is bigger than you actually are. You see, humility isn't an inferiority complex. Humility is seeing yourself honestly, truly, really who you are. It's looking at yourself critically in order to find out those spots in which you need improvement. But the problem is that we as human beings often find ourselves too busy, well, focusing on the flaws of our fellow human beings, and thus not seeing the flaws in ourselves. We're so busy smelling the odorous stench of hypocrisy in others that we fail to take account of our own. Here's another piece of wisdom from the Jesus character in the New Testament. He said, how can you see the speck in your brother's eye when there's a plank in your own? You fool! First remove the plank from your own eye, then you will be better to see the speck in your brother's eye. And this is something that I continually learn throughout my life. Time and time again, I find myself being a hypocrite and fixing those places, forcing myself to be honest with myself and to improve those places that need improvement, no matter how painful it might be. No matter how much I may not want to recognize the stench of my own hypocrisy and flaws and inabilities, I constantly drag myself back to them, forcing myself to face up to who I really am, and then remembering who I could be. But this is how we evolve. I think if you honestly examine yourself, you'll find that there are definitely areas that need improvement. And that even our friends who believe in fairy tales, fiction, ridiculous nonsense, I think if we look hard enough and skeptically enough at ourselves, that is, if we are humble enough to do so, that we will find areas in which we'll need improvement. I know I certainly do. With that said, folks, I'm James the Realist. Think for yourselves and keep it real. Peace the fuck out.